Hey everybody, CJ again. Uh, try to get in another long game. I got an 11:45. That seems a little too long. Looking for a 10:15 or something. Hopefully someone challenges me soon. Okay, there we go. Ooh, a perspective 1840. Let's do it. Let's play the Sicilian. See if he can catch me in any of the traps that I usually fall into. This I'm not so familiar with. This is defense against the Sicilian. So what I'm going to try to do is lock down on the d4 square. Maybe this is a good time to fianchetto my bishop. So with that move, he's eyeing that diagonal. His knight will probably come out to c3 and then potentially b5 or something, eyeing that square. I could actually gain a tempo with e5 right now. That would forever leave my d6 square weak. I don't know if that's a long-term weakness about this, but I do gain a tempo, and that seems like not a bad idea. I can even pawn break later if I play knight f6 and then d4 and just open it up because I'll be so much more developed than he is. Let's go for it. I plan to just develop fast. Knight f6, bishop e7, and then castle. His king side is still all on the back rank. He could castle queenside eventually, but still got to get his knight out and stuff, and then we'll have an exciting game anyway. So I'm getting ready to castle here. His light square bishop has to come out to e2 because he already locked it in with d3. So I'm going to be ahead. After I castle, I'm going to go right for the pawn break, I think. He is attacking my e4 pawn twice. I'm not blind to that. I guess I'm not really sure what the move is here. What's the best way to defend it? I'm looking at queen c7. We're playing d7, d6. I'm going to defend it with my queen. I don't want to defend it with my bishop because then I lock out d6 possibilities. Like my d pawn is just locked in. Maybe queen c7 is the best. I could just defend it with the pawn. Thing is, if I was planning on pawn breaking later, I don't want to waste another move, moving the d pawn twice. First to d6 to defend, and then after one of these guys moves, then eventually to d5. So maybe I'll just play queen c7. What's his move? He has to develop his light square bishop. I'll do the same. He'll castle, I'll castle, and then no, it's not looking too bad. With this e4 pawn there, I have a huge lock on this square, on e4. d4, I mean, sorry. I guess a decent reason to play d6 would be not only to over-defend my e4 pawn, but then my light square bishop could be out to maybe pin his knight to his queen. Okay, what's this deal? His knight now can't develop to c3. He's got to go through d2, which is actually not bad because with all the stuff, the b4 square or the c4 square is going to be all his. So maybe some b5 type deal. I guess not prophylactically, but just like gain some space. That way, if he pushes to try to break through the center, I will be able to play a6 and defend my pawn, so his bishop can't really be mobile. Like that's probably his idea right now, to open up that light square diagonal and get his bishop out. But yeah, how do I react to that? Because now he's attacking this d4 square. I mean, he's got, once he pushes d4, he's got his c3 pawn on it, his knight, and his queen. So he can make that break. So strategically, maybe I should just develop my bishop and get castled. Once he breaks, I'll take in the center. He'll take, and I have some checks with my queen and stuff, or even with my bishop at that point. I'll move my bishop twice, but I think it'll be all right. Like a6, b5 seems like a decent plan. Getting more space on the queen side, and I don't know what there's not many weak squares to capitalize on right now. None of his pieces are undefended or anything. All right, so here, yeah, my plan is take here. And then, oh, you know what? This I didn't realize his e-pawn would be hanging after all this. What about bishop out to b4 check? I don't know if his knight comes out to defend, but if it does, then I can just capture that pawn, e4. Then I'll either be hitting his pinned knight, or I'll just grab his dark square bishop, wrecking his kingside pawn structure. Both I'm okay with. Let's do that. I mean, if he plays knight to d2, then his knights are working together. But in that case, after I take his pawn, oh, I didn't realize my my e5 pawn is pinned to my queen. That would have been bad. I know I'm not that I didn't realize it. Like I knew when I moved it out there that it was on the same diagonal as the bishop, but I wasn't keeping that in mind for this time. All right. So what's the move here? If I can tie this knight down to defending the pinned knight after knight takes e4, uh, that would leave my e5 pawn with one less attacker because this knight isn't really attacking it anymore. He has to stay back and defend his knight. Which seems pretty good for me. He can always advance d5 and kick my knight away, so then it's just two attackers against my queen defending. But then I can always play d6 and defend that guy. So what? So is it knight takes or is it knight takes e4 or knight takes d4? That's the question. I guess if I play knight takes e4, I'm worried about bishop takes. Oh no, I'm not, because I got my knight defending it still. What am I worried about? Pawn takes? I don't know. I can always just capture his knight and get his knight on f3 to go recapture. That way it'll be just his bishop defending that pawn. All right, I'm capturing first. How exactly does he get out of this? Because at the end, if he does recapture with his knight, then his queen isn't defending. Okay, yeah, so this is what I was talking about. I can just take with my knight. If he then pushes his pawn, I can either take his bishop or take his king with check. I know move order should be important here, but all right, I'm gonna go like this. If he recaptures with his knight, then his pawn is hanging. I'll recapture with my knight. It'll be in a pin, but it'll be in a pin, and he can play f4. Is that a problem? I'm not sure. I mean, if his knight recaptures me on d2 and I take his pawn, so maybe the pawn take is not that great right away. Because if I take it, then my knight will be pinned to my queen. He can play f4, and that's a pinned piece. So maybe just castles is the move. Oh, what about something aggressive like queen a5, attacking his knight twice? What would he do? I guess he could play bishop f4 there. In that case, I'm still hitting his pawn twice. So I could take and my queen wouldn't be pinned. The idea with queen a4 is queen a5 is after I take, he recaptures his queen. I take his queen, he takes with his king. His king's all the way out in the center. So what else can he do there? I don't know. Yeah. Good move. The good move about queen f5 also is I'm getting off this long diagonal, yet still having pressure on his e5 pawn. That's the move. And it's not like he can come defend that knight again. I mean, just with his bishop move, but like I said, I'm still hitting this pawn. Plus, if I take and he recaptures his bishop, I recapture with my queen with check, which is huge, and his knight would still be pinned. Looks like his king is getting into kind of hairy territory right now. Okay, so his king is just, he's resigning his king to be in the center here. I take with my knight, he takes with his queen, I take with my queen, his queen comes out. Still have my rooks. I wonder if that's even a problem for him, though. Should I play it safe? Should I play it slower? Do I keep my hang on to my bishop? I would be losing the bishop pair, and it'd be a wide open game. What is the move? I feel like to be consistent with my play, I can't just move it back, because the whole reason I moved my queen out here was to get his king out to the center. So let's just see how it works. All right. Now I want to develop my bishop, so maybe just b6. Maybe I just get castled now. Like his dark square bishop's going to be pretty good. I think it's too early to start bringing my king out into the center or anything, like to match his. Getting castled is probably the best move. He'll develop his dark square. Maybe I don't have to get castled just yet. I still got to develop my light square bishop because he's about to. I'll connect my rooks. All right, I'll just kind of fiend cut on my bishop, put him on this long diagonal, wide open because all the pawns are gone, because the board is wide open. I'm not so worried about that, actually, because that's just as bad for his bishop. So I'll just get castled, I guess. I kind of get what he's trying to do, obviously, but I mean, I'm just going to put my rook directly opposite his king and advance my d-pawn. What's he going to do about that? Connect my rooks and get rolling. I'm not going to start advancing my pawns to meet his, because that just gives him something to attack on. I want him to waste all these moves, advancing his pawn, advancing his pawn, advancing his pawn. Yeah, he's going to really just try to do this, but yeah, I think this rook is the right way to go. So then I still have my option to put the a rook on the c file. But then again, could the e file open up? So maybe my a rook is the better choice. Now for some reason I think the f rook is right. I mean, again, his dark square bishop is not threatening anything because I'm controlling these dark squares. All his pawns are on dark squares, so his dark square bishop is worse than his light square bishop, and for some reason he hasn't developed his light square bishop yet. Like I guess I don't want to see bishop to c4 pinning this pawn and doing some stuff. Like if I advance my d pawn and he pushes, I take, he takes with check with his bishop. How do I go against that move? Well, I guess he doesn't really care. Okay, let's challenge this guy. Get out of there, pawn. Right now I'm just trying to open everything up because his king is right in the center of the board, and I want all the pawns in front of him gone. So he'll probably advance right now, I would imagine. Guess I'll just take with my f pawn, and then keep pushing. See, in that case, maybe my rooks should still be on the f file. I should have maybe anticipated that the f file would clear up. I'm not sure. Okay. So where's his king going? His king going back to the c file. I'll put my rook promptly on the c file. Or maybe I'll double up. I don't know. What's the best way to go here? Start getting my pieces involved. I'm looking for a knight route. If he goes back to c1, maybe I'll go knight d4, threatening to fork his king and rook on b3. If he takes with his bishop, then I'll take with my rook, and I'll be happy to trade those two things. Okay, yeah, so maybe I just put my rook right opposite his king right now. This comes with tempo. Or maybe not. I know it does, because I was about to say, even if he puts his bishop on c5 attacking my rook, I just jump my knight out of the way, and all of a sudden his rook is pinned. His bishop is pinned to his king. Plus that unleashes my light square bishop, which when it happens, he'll have a hard time developing his light square bishop, because mine will be attacking his g2 pawn. He can't really move his g2 pawn yet, because his rook is right behind it. I feel like this should be good for me. His bishops are definitely great. They're controlling all the space in front of his king, so it's not like I can just plop a piece down there. But these open files, I want to just control all of these with my rooks, the D and C files. Looking at knight routes, like relocating knight to e7 up to d5. So this comes with, so I could play right now, like I was saying, knight d4 check. He takes with his bishop, I take with my rook, and that's a happy trade for me. We got both light square bishops. Yeah, let's trade. I want to get rid of I want him to not have the bishop pairs. The bishop pair. Trade this and, yep. I could, okay. Just take this and let's keep it going. I have bishop d5 check. I could even play b5 first, taking away that square. And I've heard actually the key is you got to get behind the king so we can't retreat. Like maybe I'll just invade to the second rank soon with my rook. I do have to be cognizant of back rank issues on my part. Maybe I'll just insert h6 sometime soon and get some lift. Now I'm attacking his f4 pawn, but I think he realizes that he can't defend it with g3 because his rook is behind it, like I was saying earlier. So he could push. I guess if he pushes f5, still that wouldn't stop my plan. I'll put my rook on the second rank, hitting that g2 pawn a couple times. I'll have to defend it maybe, I don't know, rook g2. Rook g1, rook h2. Some real defensive stuff. Like all of a sudden my light square bishop is just great. Maybe even some aggressive thing like a5 soon. Getting rid of those pawns around his king. Alright, so I'm thinking like rook d2, potentially. Obviously bishop d5 check looks pretty good. Yeah, if I go bishop d5 check, he goes back to the second rank. Then I go to the second rank with check, which is good. And I always have that f2 square. So maybe I'll do that. Yeah, that looks pretty good. Check. I just want to get my bishop more active than his, because I think the rule is when you have when it comes down to one bishop for both sides, maybe it's just for like the endgame or something, but when both of you have just one bishop of your minor pieces of the same color, the more active bishop wins. I guess it sounds kind of obvious, but it's like his bishop right now is on the back rank. He's controlling some good squares, I guess, but only this one diagonal. My bishop's right in the center of the board. He's hitting this pawn, x-raying the rook, controlling all these squares for my pieces. All right, now I come down with check. He's cut off. He can't go to the c file. This has to be really good for me. I don't know why I'm even hesitating on this rook d2 move. I think it's just good. It's getting close to mating territory, I'm pretty sure. Like king b1 would be bishop e4 checkmate. I mean, after rook d3 interposes and I take, is that mate? His box is getting awfully small. Awfully small. This has got to be close to mate. I think just rook d3 and I take, and that's checkmate. Yeah, mate. Yeah, I think he just got into trouble when he allowed. Yeah, so this line I don't know this line, like e4 d3, locking in your light square bishop. I don't really get the point of it. And this bishop, I understand the point because you're kind of hitting that c7 square. So if your knight ever hops down to like b5, you're threatening it. But it's a long way away, and I wasn't going to let that happen. E5 I wasn't so sure about just because it weakens my d6 square, but I thought it was okay because it comes with tempo. And as I'm just developing, this queen move to c7, I just did it because I think it's normal, like in positions like this. Often in the Sicilian, I'll see people like play queen c7, but maybe it's not so good because it's on the same diagonal as his bishop. I don't know. It kind of came back to bite me a little bit. But either way, I thought like this was a whole tactical sharp position. Maybe I missed some stuff, but after I captured there and he captured with his knight and I moved my queen, his king is like coming out to the center for sure. He's either like dropping this pawn on e5 by like moving his bishop down to f4 to protect his knight, which overloads the bishop, protecting a knight and a pawn, where this pawn has significant. I mean, his pawn is hanging right now, basically. So just by allowing this and having his king come to the center, I think he just got like really aggressive with his pawns, trying to pawn storm me. But developing normally and just getting my pieces into the game, like he allowed everything to open up. Like maybe here he should have even just advanced f5 to f6, which kind of like forced me to take, and then there's pawns in front of his king. But he just like decided to open the whole thing up, come all these things with tempo and check. Pretty much like every move is coming with check now. Maybe that was even a forced mate. All right, it's kind of a cool game. It's fun for me to play. Thanks to my opponent. Thanks guys for watching. Let me know where I made up, and in the comments say if you heard me make any mistakes. All right, cool. I'm excited to hear what you guys have to say. Till next time.